Okay, so now we're recording. Thank you, Kinjo. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen with you so I can show you the different features and how to arrive quickly to those features, okay? The first thing is, let me see. With that, let me just go to the student preview. Can you see the screen now? I'm on Blackboard. You just raise your hand if you can see my screen. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So you have here, this is more or less the way you see it, right? This part here to the left, well, the read me first, you already read that, you already completed the acknowledgement for the quiz, for the read me first, etc. So I'm not gonna go there. But the course syllabus is here. This is a direct access, so you can just go ahead, check there very quickly. This is the schedule. Also, if you click in there, you're gonna get the direct access to the schedule, right? The schedule might be a little bit weird, but this is because during the summer I recorded all the lessons and the timings are different than the timings that we have for the fall, right? So you might see that some of the lessons, for example, only have one part, like lesson 2, and on the same week you have to start with lesson 3, but doesn't matter. It's like these videos are in the same folder for, in this case, week 3, right? So there is no way you can miss a lesson or a video, okay? Now, over here, we have the due date. So for example, today is the due date for homework 1, okay? The due date is always at 11:59 p.m. So you have still all today, all right? Excellent, Josue, thank you. Now, this is the number of the homework you're going to be doing. Once again, it doesn't really matter because that homework is already on your week folder, right? So you know exactly, if you go to the folder, you know exactly what to do. So that's not a problem, I think. Now, if you click on my grades, you're going to see here eventually all your grades, right? As I said in one of the announcements, if you complete a homework and let's say you get a 92 in the homework and then you see in Blackboard that you have a 40, hold on, be patient because sometimes the communication between Blackboard and Sapling is a little slow. So give it 24 hours, that grade is going to be updated, but if not, if after 24 hours is not updated, just let me know. I have the way to change it manually, but I don't want to do it until we know it's a real problem, right? So just be patient, check the next day, and if your grade is still, it doesn't match what you really got, then let me know, okay? Now, if we move here, I think you already went there. You're gonna see the getting started section, which is exactly the same you have here, right? But also you are gonna see all the activities we have. What happened? Hold on. I just stopped sharing. Why? Well, anyway, in that, okay, we're on. So in these folders, you will have all the information specific for a unit exam. So everything that is going to be on unit exam 1 is contained in this folder here, okay? This folder here. So if I open it, then I have the checklist, which is, I think, a good way for you to follow the activities in the correct order and also check if you have completed everything. So you can print this out and start checking the boxes as you complete the activities if you want to. Now, these suggestions, I'm going to go there in a second, but this is not mandatory. It's just, I think, a very good way to review what you learned on that week, so you are very prepared. As I say, it's not mandatory, but it's recommended. And this is week by week, okay? Now, at the end, we have the date of the unit exam, and I also added here the due date for the unit discussion. Now, where can I find the information for the unit discussions? So, let's go back to the folder. Over here, you have a document that says Unit 1 discussion. So if you open this document, you are going to see what you have to do this month or for this unit, okay? It is usually gonna require you to do some sort of simulation or some sort of research, something extra where we are gonna apply what we learned in the class, okay? Now, this activity is a team activity. How do I know which one is my team? Well, so I gotta come here to the discussion teams. You have to look for your name here. If your name is highlighted in yellow, that means you are the team leader, right? Everyone is gonna be a team leader, so don't worry, at some point, you are gonna be, if you are not for this unit, you are gonna be the next, one of the next. What does it do? Good question, and once again, if you go to the checklist, it is right here. So it is the very same day as the last day of the exam, okay? September 26th, perfect, right? Now, don't start this or the communications 1 or 2 days before the due date, because since you guys have 3 weeks, I believe, yeah, you have 3 weeks to complete it, it's kind of long. So it requires, even if you are a team of 3 or 4, it requires you to spend some time working at it. Now, it's not like you have to work 4 hours per day, no. But you might have to give it at least an hour per week per team member, right? So don't wait until the end. It is important that at least you start reading the information, you start doing some research, you start playing with the simulation and collecting data, and then if you want the last week, you can do the final delivery. The final delivery is usually a document that based on some rules that I'm gonna put here, or some guidelines that I'm gonna add here, and this is what you're gonna submit, okay? Now, how am I gonna submit that unit discussion? Before I go into week 3, let me complete this, this part. So over here in your menu, you have a link that says discussion board, right? What if my teammates don't participate? Don't worry, I'm gonna be overlooking everything. So if they don't wanna participate, they are gonna get a 0. So don't worry about it. That's exactly the idea behind this discussion board, because I wanna prevent that problem where you guys are communicating outside and then someone says, but this person didn't participate, and that person says, oh yeah, I did, and I have no idea, right? So everything is gonna be done in a way that I can see who's doing things and who's not. So I recommend you that whatever information you get, whatever questions you have for your teammates, whatever, if you are the team leader, for example, and if you are asking to someone to research about the Thomson experiment, you have to do it through the discussion board. So I know you asked, and if not, the other person replied or not, I will know that too. So don't worry. Don't worry about it. I'm on top of that. I'll be paying attention. So once again, to post all that discussion we have here, this is our communication part of the Blackboard, right? So over here we have a link that says discussion board. If you click on that, this first link is just to introduce yourself to your peers. This is what you can use for example, hey dudes, do you wanna, I don't know, have a Zoom call to study for the exam? Or do you wanna, I don't know, discuss any other topic that is not related to the discussion activity? Okay, so this is what you can use. Now, for the discussion activity, we are going to use these threads here. So for example, I'm going to click in Unit 1, and you are going to go to the thread that is related to your team, right? So let's say nobody has posted anything yet, no? Let's say I'm Team 2. So I'm going to go there. And the first thing I need to do, I already did it. So you see my name here and the names of the team members, etc. I already did it. But if it is the first time you access to this thread, I think you're gonna see something that says subscribe. So you gotta click on subscribe, and then you have access to this text. Okay. Everything you want to post here, you can, for example, reply to my mail if you wanna, or to my post. If you want, you can add a different subject. You can type things here. You can attach files in here. And actually, the final delivery, so that final document should be attached by the team leader into this part, okay? So at the very end, you're gonna change that to final delivery, and whatever you wanna write there, or don't write anything, doesn't matter. And then you're gonna attach that document here, all right? Now, when I'm ready to, why don't we have a course message section? Is it disabled? Yes. We're using this as a course message because announcements, emails, course message, discussion boards is just way too many ways of communication, and it's difficult for me to follow. I mean, you guys are not my only group, right? It's a little difficult for me. So we're gonna do everything here or by email, direct email to me, okay? Or I can communicate with you through the announcements, okay? So, where was I? Okay. All right. So anyway, when the period is over and the due date is passed, I'm gonna come back and check all your contributions to the team. As I said, I can check here who worked and who didn't, and I can give you a grade, right? There is a rubric for the discussion board, and I'm pretty sure it's in the README first here. These are the rules for the discussion board. And over here is the rubric for the rubric I'm going to follow to grade that discussion. So what you said it was really contributing to the subject, then 0 to 30 points, or it wasn't important, so it's 0 to 30 points. But it was really good contribution, okay, 45 to 50 points. They have any connection to the course materials. Depending on that contribution, I'm going to follow this table here. So for example, if your answer is yes, I agree, the way I put it in the quiz, I agree, that's not exactly the best contribution, right? That's you just showing there. So that's not gonna receive a lot of points, okay? So I really recommend you to read this rubric here, because this is what I'm going to follow to grade your contributions. Okay? Are we okay so far? Can you raise your hand if you guys are doing okay? Ah, perfect. Thank you so much. Now, so this is about the discussion. So let me go back here. So once again, I really recommend you to start communicating to your peers now. Okay, this week is almost over, so you will have only 2 weeks to complete this work. This month is not that bad. Next month is a little bit heavier work. Okay. So week by week, you are gonna start seeing here the rest of the week. They are gonna show up on Sunday, and they don't really close. You are gonna be able to come back and see the videos at any time. The only thing that has a due date is the homework. Okay, so you can come back and check your homework later, but you cannot edit it or you cannot start it after the due date. Okay. Now, you have here the handouts, which is the PDFs of what we do in class. So you guys, when you watch the videos, you don't have to write everything. If you just print these or have it in your computer and make some notes, that's gonna simplify your life a lot. Okay. Now, these handouts are not complete. You have to complete them. Okay. Don't think that if you print the handouts only, you're ready to study for the exam. No, you have to, this is just help, so you don't have to write everything in the, when watching the videos. Okay. Now, let me go back. Now these are the videos, right? It's the length of the total length of the videos is around 2 hours per week. Some of them are a little bit shorter. I think only one is longer, but 1 week is going to be a little bit longer, but the rest are around 2 hours, more or less. Okay. I recommend you to watch the videos first before you even attempt the homework, before you do anything else. Watch the videos. Okay, and especially before you come to these little classes, let's say, because if you don't know what am I talking about, you won't be able to solve the problem, right? Then the homework, if you want to wait until we have the additional problem session, that's fine. If you feel like you are prepared and you wanna do it before, it's fine. Don't worry, because the due date is on Thursday midnight, right? At the end of the day, so you can do it either before or after. Okay. Didn't need it too easy. Yes, for now, for now it was too easy. I think so. Now, I think that if you watch the videos, if you ask me question, if you read your book, homework is gonna be pretty easy. Yeah? So don't worry. Okay. Then you're gonna have also some additional material depending on the material covered that week. So for example, on this week, we cover some unit conversions. So you have here the table. Most likely, I'm gonna give you this same table for to solve the exam. Okay, you won't be able to print anything for the exam, but I'm gonna provide you within the exam, let's say, I'm gonna provide you with this table. You guys are not gonna be left alone. You guys don't have to memorize all the conversion factors, for example, okay? But anyway, each week has or probably doesn't have, because it was not needed, but you will have here the extra material that you need to have for this week, right? So you don't have to print it additionally. No, you don't have to print anything. As I said, when you guys take the exam, you will be able to open in a different tab. you will be able to open all these tables, whatever you need. And also, I will provide you with the formula sheet. So, and actually, what I do is you have a way to check the formula sheet, the extra material that I gave you even before you start the exam. So you can see what formulas I included, because I'm including all the formulas that I think are relevant, but there are things that I didn't include because either they are way too easy to remember or because you guys have to remember them. Okay, so for example, the symbols and the names of the atoms. Well, you guys are gonna have to start learning those, right? So that information is not included in the formula sheet. So things like that. But how you guys are gonna know what I included and what I left out? What you can check that before starting the exam, and I highly recommend you to do it before you start the exam, because when taking the exam, once you click on begin, you are in. You are locked in. You cannot go out. You know what I mean? So do whatever you can before pressing that begin button. Actually, if you need to go to the restroom, go before. If you need to feed your dog or close the door or whatever you want, do it before you click on the begin button. Once you click the begin button, you are locked in the exam. Okay? Let's say, okay, so for test, is any calculator permitted? Yes. I'm sorry, I'm asking. No, I haven't clarified that. Kyler, thank you for asking. Yes, you have, you are allowed to use your own scientific calculator. If you don't have one, I highly recommend you to get one. Although for the exam, in particular, to solve the exam, I'm providing you also with an online calculator. So if for some reason your calculator dies or something happened, you cannot find it or whatever, there is a calculator also available in the inside the exam. Okay. Yes, please. So Tyler is asking if you guys have to show your calculator. Yes, please. The same as your scrap paper front and back, just show me your calculator front and back, okay? Now, now that you asked that, you just remind me something. Let's say, will we access to online calculator to do homework? No. For homework, I cannot provide you with one, but if you Google scientific calculator, you can, if you, for some reason, if you don't have one, you can you have access to those resources, right? And actually, let me see if I can do it here right now. uh, Scientific calculator online free, there you go, right? So this is the one that Google is providing you, but you can find other sources like here. So you can have this open while you're doing your homework, right? And that way you can do the homework here. Now, for the exam, you won't be able to browse outside what I gave you, right? Ah, there you go, calculus calculator. Oh, let me see that one. I never seen that one. Calculus, like that. Calculus calculator online. That one. Josue? There you go. There you go. So yeah, while doing your homework, you have many ways to, if you don't have a physical one, you have ways to get one. When in the exam, you won't be able to browse anything outside the exam. That's why I'm providing you with the calculator, right? All right, we don't need to see that now. Where were we? Okay, so we were here, right? Now, these activities that you see here, these worksheets that you see here, are related to those suggested activities. So for example, that one was the worksheet for density. Well, over here, you have something that says perform the interactive activity 1.8 density activity worksheet provided. So that sheet that you saw in the week 2 folder belongs to this activity. Now, how are we going to find this? Okay. Let me just double check. I think that's all I wanted to tell you. Just one more thing. In these parts of the menu here, you have direct access to all handouts or to all homework or to all exams, all right? These are also, if you see this is, it says here course link, because these are exactly the same as the ones in your week folder, right? So it's just a different way to access. If you don't want to click to get to the homework, you can just click on homework and start homework 1, for example. That's just a different access, okay? One thing important, super important thing, announcements. Guys, it's the only way I can communicate with you during the week other than in these sessions. So if something comes up, or sometimes when I receive the same question, I don't know, more than 3 students ask me the same questions, then I send an announcement so everyone knows what's going on, okay? Every time I send an announcement, I also send you an email. So I send you the same announcement through your email. So you guys, in the quiz, in the syllabus, I said that you guys have to log in at least 3 times per week. Not too much to do to watch the videos or everything, but to keep up with the announcements because they might have important information. For example, for this month, I think all the stuff about the textbook and all that part, I think is over, so I won't send more announcements about that. But for example, if someone, and this already happened, I don't know if in 1411 or in 1412, but someone just dropped the class. So that team for the unit discussion, instead of having 3 members, went out to 2. So I had to do some movement. And I sent an announcement saying, as I say, I don't remember if it was with you or with the other groups, but I had to send an announcement and say, hey guys, please just check again your teams, right? Now this is not going to happen once you start working. I cannot start moving people. Now I have to talk to people individually, right? But I guess you get the idea, no? Or as I said, frequently asked questions. If I get the same question 3 or more times, I just send an announcement. Okay, guys, look, I'm receiving this question. This is the solution, or this is how you have to do it, or things like that, so everyone knows, right? Please check either your email or this announcement section, all right? At least 3 times per week. And it was with you here. There it is. It was in your group, okay? Okay, one more thing. Today's session, as I say, I'm recording this session, so today's session is gonna be posted. Just give me like 24 hours because sometimes it takes some time, but it's gonna be posted on this week's folder. So over here, you are gonna find another link tomorrow that says additional problem session for this specific week, okay? Any questions so far? Are we okay? Could you please raise your hand if you are okay? Okay, it says, for the exam, will we have to memorize the formulas? All right, first just raise your hand. Ahmed, Kinjal, thank you. Josue, are we okay with everything? Kyler, are we okay? Okay, Kyler. Okay, thank you. So Ahmed is asking, for exams, will we have to memorize the formulas or will the formulas be provided in the exam by itself? As I said, I'm providing you with a formula sheet. So, and you can check these formulas before you start with the exam. So you know what kind of help are you getting in the exam and what kind of help are you not getting in the exam, which I think is the most important part, right? So if, I don't know, for example, you have to calculate for some, let me think in some example, I don't know, you have to calculate the polarity of a bond, and for that you have to calculate the difference in electronegativities. I'm gonna give you the table with the electronegativities, but I'm not gonna tell you you have to calculate the difference. You know what I mean? So there are parts of the, or there are things that you should know that it's not a real formula that I'm gonna include in your formula sheet, okay? So once again, that's why it's really, really important for you to check that paper before starting with the exam. So you know especially what is not included there, and whatever is not included there, you have to study or you have to memorize, right? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So let's go to these interactives. For that, let me go here. Am I in the student preview? Yes. So this is what you get when you access to your Sapling website. Can you just confirm that this is what you see when you access there, please? If one of you can let me know. Yes? Okay, thank you. Perfect. So we have different things here. Sort of, it has all the homework on it. Okay, yeah, I have a little bit more stuff. Even if I'm in the student view, I would probably mine look a little bit different. Let me just go back a little bit. Josue says about the discussion. Could you explain more about what we have to do? I have the assignment, but I still do not understand. Okay, Josue, let me finish with this part, and then we'll go to the discussion. Is that okay? Perfect. Okay, so as I said, this might not be exactly the way you see it, but it's more or less. It should be the same. As I said, I'm supposedly in a student role, but anyway. So you have here the activities that you have to complete with the due date, that gives you the status, etc. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about here is this part here, right? So these media resources and media resources by chapter, they are pretty much the same. It's just in this one, the first one, everything is in there. And in this one, you can browse by chapter. So to me, this is much better. When you hit that tab or that link, you are going to find all the resources on the chapter 1. So this week, we are covering sections 1.1 to 1.9, right? You can see here some videos. These are different than my class. So if there is some part that you wanna double check or that you really didn't get it the way I explain it, and you want someone else or from another point of view, you can come here and access these videos. Anyway, if it is something that is not that clear, you can come to me, right? And I'm gonna explain you everything. But sometimes you need a different point of view, a different sort of explanation, so you can access these videos. These are very good explanations or practical ways to see whatever concept you are covering, okay? Now, over there, you're gonna find the interactives. For example, in this case, if you remember, we were talking about the suggestion was to do the 1.18 density interactive. There is no 1.9. Yeah, no, not everything is there. Not absolutely everything is there. It's not because it is not there, it's just because it doesn't exist. Because for some reason it is not required, or the publisher decided that you didn't need a video for that part. So this is whatever you have here is what you guys have. Other than that, I'm your main resource. Okay, so don't worry, this is just additional for you. Okay. Now, what was I saying? Ah, yeah, the interactives. So those interactives that you find in the checklist, they are here. So for example, this is the density interactive. If you click there, these are like simulations. So if you have the worksheet is going to give you all the instructions on how to proceed with this. So for example, in that one, as far as I remember, you have to calculate the volume of, for example, iron. So to calculate the volume of iron, I gotta see the dimensions. So I see that is 4 centimeters. The diameter is 4 centimeters. So you can move things around, right? And then you are going to need the mass. So I'm going to put here the iron. I can see the mass, or I can measure the volume of this iron by displacement. So I'm going to put it here and see how much of this volume was displaced. And the difference between these 200 and this 233.5 is the volume of the iron, right? So really the iron in this case has a volume of 33.5 milliliters, right? That's the Archimedes experiment. But anyway, you're gonna see this in class, okay? And in your lab too. Now I have here an unknown solid, so I can also check the volume by measuring the diameter, or check the volume here. You know what I mean? So you can play with these interactives. It's like a simulation, like a mini lab, but they are good. As I said, they are very good resources to completely understand the concepts. Now, to work with this, to really have a guide to work with this, you have to have the worksheet handy. But that worksheet is already provided by you, as I say, in the here. Okay, so I'm gonna click in here so you guys can see it. All right, so it says calculate the volume by 2 methods. So measure the diameter. Remember I did that and use that formula. Place the iron sphere. Blah blah blah. It tells you exactly what to do. Now I don't have the solutions to this activity, but if you decide that you want to do it, as I say, it's not mandatory, but if you decide you want to do it and you want to double check if your activity was correct, just send it to me. I will check and let you know if it is correct or not. Or if you have any question about the interactive, also just let me know. Okay? Another feature that I want to show you here is this part. It says here, solution to end of chapter problems. So during these sessions, we'll be covering the even, well, almost all the, not all, but almost only even problems. So you have 2 different solutions to the odd problems already here, and to the even problems. We're gonna do this in this additional session problems. Do we email you? Yes, Kinjal. Anything you need, email me, please. If it is something that requires, sometimes it is difficult to explain something over the email, especially if you have problems with solving a problem. If you have some questions about the formula. Sometimes it's difficult to answer on an email. So if that happens, we will just agree on a time and date, and we'll do a session like this one, but only one-on-one, right? Or if two or three have the same question, we can agree on a time, on a date, and we'll just do a session like this, and so I can explain better on the whiteboard, right? Because sometimes the email is faster, but it's not always the most adequate way to communicate, right? So yes, always anything that comes to your mind, email me. Remember, between 9 to 5, I will reply pretty much immediately. After 5, it's difficult to know because sometimes I can reply to you immediately, sometimes I can reply to you late, sometimes I can reply to you till the very next day. So after 5, don't really, I don't know, it's a little bit uncertain, but between 9 and 5, for sure you're going to receive an answer pretty much immediately. Even if I'm not at my desk, I have my email in my phone and I reply pretty much immediately. Okay? All right, so as I said, you have here the solution to the auth problem. So in this case, it's chapter 1. This week we are covering chapter 1. And you have the solution to the end of chapter problems. Now, where are you going to find those problems? Look, you have here, if you have the printed version of the textbook, that's fine. If you don't need it, really, because you have here an electronic or a digital version of your book, which at some point I consider even better. Because in this way, in this digital version, all those videos, all those interactives, all the solution to some problems are right here. So you don't have to be dealing with a printed version of the book and the digital side. So, but anyway, it's really up to you. So anyway, over here you have your book. So if you browse, this is the table of contents, right? Let's say this is chapter 1, so this is really your book, okay? My internet is a little slow, but it's working. So if you want to know a little bit more about the definition of matter, you will click there. So this is what I said is, this is way more interactive than a hard copy of a book, but it's really up to you. Now, you have all the sections here. One thing you have here is you have a solved example right here. And right immediately, you have a practice problem. So this practice problem is very similar to this solved example. And also, it gives you hints, and you can check the answer here immediately, right? So this is just for you to study, okay? Now, those videos that we saw in the media resources are also here. So you access to those videos right here. And actually that interactive, the density interactive should be here too. Let me see. So this is density 1.7, it was 1.18, right? Right here. Oops, hold on. Right there. So this is the interactive, is figure 1.18. So there are two different ways to access. One is a shortcut. This is just a long way, but at the same time, you can read this information here, right? Now, to see the end of chapter problems, you're gonna go here. Once you come here, these end of chapter problems are also divided by section. So let's wanna solve more problems about density. You have it right there. It's loading, it's loading. Okay. So remember the auth end of chapter problem, the solution to this auth is right there in your book. The even are the ones that we are going to be solving here, right? Time is not probably enough to cover all of them, but at least I select the ones that I think are more representative, or they have a trick, or they might represent some difficulty. I've been teaching these classes for many, many years now, so I have a kind of good sense of where students struggle the most. So I will choose those problems to include them in these additional sessions, okay? So it says here, so for the additional practice, we do at home when I send you to check it's okay if it is on a paper, right? And no question. Yes, it is okay. If you want me to check something that is not, for example, a report, something that is not an official delivery, let's say it that way, right? You can write it on a paper. Now make sure I'm going to understand, right? Because sometimes the writing, the handwriting is so difficult for me to read, but as soon as you make sure it's legible, it's fine. What a lot of students do, and that works pretty well, is that they take a photo of, let's say, for example, you have problems in isolating a variable in an equation. So you take a photo of your work and then send it to me. So if I see that work, I can tell you, look, the problem is right here. I have this little pen in my phone too, that where I can write on what you send me, or I have my pen here in the computer that I can pinpoint to things, or I can say, no, let's do this all over again, or no, you're fine. You don't have any problem. You know what I mean? So if you take a photo, if it is just a random question and it's not an official document, like the final delivery for the unit discussion, then just take a photo of your phone and send me that photo and say, hey, I have problem here. Or I didn't get the answer. I didn't get the same answer in the book. What am I doing wrong? Just send me your procedure, and then I will see, okay, no, look, here you are doing this incorrect. You know what I mean? So there are many, many ways, creative ways that we can communicate. And as I said, you can count on me uh, for whatever you need, because we guys, we cannot see each other. We cannot solve things face to face, which is easier, but we still have ways to do it very easily through the email or through these sessions, or anyway. Okay? Are we okay so far? Would you raise your hand just to let me know that we're okay? All right. Only King Joel is okay? All right. Okay, perfect. Let me see if that was everything I wanted to show you here. Yeah, I think it was everything I wanted to show you here. Of course, you have a periodic table. You have access to the tables. This is the appendix. So you have access to different tables. So for example, I was talking about electronegativity. So you have the chart there. Anyway. Okay, so I think that's it for the book. So coming back to, I think it was Josue's question about the discussion. Okay. So first, I don't know, let me see if I can, okay, we're better there. Let me see, where is my mouse? I have two screens, so sometimes my mouse gets lost. Okay, we're here. So for this month, you gotta read all these document, right? And it says there, the first thing that says is all communication among the team members must be done in the discussion work. Once again, that is the only way I can grade your participation. If you text each other, if you call, if you do some meetings, or if you are brave and decide to meet with safe distance, I cannot see that. So that's participant that I cannot grade. The only information I can see and I can grade is whatever you do on the discussion board, okay? Now, in this case, since this week we are learning about the theories behind the people that discovered the subatomic particles, and then people that were the elements to finally, let me see, yeah, to finally get to the periodic table, since we are looking at that stuff this week, and also because there is a very long story behind the true, or what we consider true, discovery of the atom or the subatomic particles. There is a long story that we didn't have time to cover. So there are many, many people that participated there, and one of them was Rutherford. His experiment was really interesting, and this is why I want you guys to see a little bit deeper into Rutherford's experiment. Basically, well, I'm not gonna tell you. You have to research that. All right. So this, you have to remember that Rutherford worked before Dalton, before the new theories of the atom. So the knowledge about the subatomic particles was very limited at this point. Okay. So what I want you, because one other thing we covered this week was the scientific method, right? So we are going to use the scientific method, pretending that we are Rutherford, to discover what Rutherford discovered. So I'm not asking you to discover anything new. I just want you to go through the process like he did it, or like he done it. Okay, more or less, I guess. So in your team, the team leader is going to be Dr. Rutherford. Every time you work with a research group, there is a leader, and then there are the, I won't say assistants, I will say the other contributors, right? So the team leader is going to be Rutherford, and is going to lead all the colleagues. And let's pretend you are watching that experiment for the first time. So put yourselves in the shoes of Dr. Rutherford, okay? Now, these are the goals for this project, and you are going to prove Thomson incorrect, and you are going to formulate, based on the scientific method, you are going to formulate your new theory, which at the end is Rutherford's theory, right? So, as I say, you are not discovering anything new, okay? Now, to get better prepared to deal with these, I highly recommend you to do this research. You don't have to write anything, you just have to read about it. First, read about the plum pudding model of Thomson. That's a very interesting and very creative way to see the atom when he didn't have a lot of technology, because this is back in the, don't believe me, 17 or 1800s, I can remember. Probably 1900. No, I don't remember. Anyway, that was long time ago. Okay. So, as I said, you don't have to write anything. You just have to read about Thomson's model and about Rutherford's experiment. Once you read about this experiment, you will have a better idea of what to do with this simulation, right? Because this simulation is something similar to what Rutherford did. Of course, this is way too simplified, right? So this is a plum pudding atom. This is what Thomson did. I highly recommend you that once you start these simulations, click on everything before. Click on everything, play with everything, even if it doesn't make any sense. It's like, for example, when I check these traces, you see these lines coming out of the particles. If I uncheck this box, there's no lines there. So just play with everything here. okay? Because they're not completely step-by-step instructions for every single one. So just spend 2 minutes playing with this, okay? You can actually do this over a Zoom meeting. Now, uh, as I said, participation counts, so just discuss the time and the way you're going to do it on the discussion board. So I know you guys are meeting, and then after that, write a brief summary of what you did in the Zoom meeting, right? So I know who was there, what did you do, things like that, okay? So just remember that discussion board, you have to let me know absolutely everything you did, otherwise I cannot see it, okay? Now, once again, now this is the Rutherford model, so spend some time clicking on everything, be familiar with the legends, etc., etc. Okay? Now, what is here? No, what is my right there? Okay. So, as it says here, get familiar with the legend using the experiment. And this, in this case, the procedure I included here is a little bit more step by step. Probably in the next simulations, if you have one for the next units, I won't explain everything, but I'm assuming that you guys are learning something from this one specifically, right? So check the traces box, choose that symbol, blah, 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 and observe. What are your initial thoughts on what you're seeing? So this is really, this part here is gonna guide you to, in this particular case, this is like what Rutherford would do, right? So it's like imagining we are there with him in the experiment, and these are the points that we have to pay attention, start getting conclusions, etc., etc. Okay? Now, it says here final delivery. And for this particular one, not all the deliveries are going to be the same, but for this particular one, it says here, your team must write a one-page document explaining your theory and how you formulated it using the scientific method. Now, in the lesson, you already learned the steps of the scientific method, right? So you first have to create an hypothesis. How are you going to do that? Well, you know, the guy before Rutherford was Thomson. So based on what Thomson did, create a new hypothesis. Now you already at this point know what that hypothesis would be, because you already know, you already read about this. Just formulate it like if you were doing that work, right? Don't copy this from anywhere. I will notice, uh, I will know it is copy paste. So just formulate one hypothesis yourself based on what you learned here. Now, the second step in the scientific method would be the experimentation. Okay, so you just write your experimentations, a brief summary of what you did experimentally, and then your observations are pretty important, right? And then the next step would be to confirm if your experiment um, agreed with your hypothesis. So you have to say there, yes, it did agree because of this and this and that, or it didn't agree with my hypothesis because this and this and that, so we are reformulating a new hypothesis. And then we're working with that. You know what I mean? So you are following the steps of the scientific method, and all that has to be documented in this one-page document, okay? And then the theory at the end is that the electrons, the protons, or whatever your theory is, whatever your theory you got from that experimentation and your hypothesis, you have to put it there, okay? Now, it says here, all the steps must be explained. So you have to include a hypothesis, experimentation, your observations, your theory, and if your theory didn't agree or your experimentations didn't agree with the hypothesis, so hypothesis number 2, you know what I mean? It's like pretend you're really working on that lab and then document absolutely everything, right? Now, it says here, use the figure on the next page as reference. And actually, that figure is exactly the same you have in your lesson. This is exactly the same figure I used for your lesson. So you see it's an observation. So this observation can be based on Thompson's experiment. And based on that, you create a hypothesis, you do your experiment. And if your experiment supports your hypothesis, then you can create your theory, right? If not, and you can do one initial experimentation and say, yes, the evidence supports the hypothesis, but I'm gonna do 2 or 3 more experiments. The good thing about the simulations is that you can really play with them as much as you want, right? And it's a very safety way to do it. So we experimented even more, now changing these other variables, now increasing the amount of alpha particles, or now and finally we arrived to this theory. Now, as I said, if your experiment, because it could happen, probably not in this specific simulation, but probably in some others, if your experiment didn't agree with the hypothesis, well, this is a loop. So we have to write a new hypothesis and continue, right? Now, what is, yeah. This final delivery, you're gonna write it in Word. Please, everything on PDF is, it is way easier for me to grade the stuff in your work in a PDF, and it's way easier for me and for you to see the comments I add. Word is good, but it's a little bit more complicated when I add the comments, and then for you to see them is a little bit more complicated. So just do it as PDF. There are many, many ways to convert something to PDF. You can actually do it with your phone. You can take photos and then convert them to PDF. So anyway, make sure it's clear enough for me to see that, okay? And then you're gonna attach it, as I explained previously, you're gonna attach it into your themes thread. And you can use that attached file that I show you at the end, or you can use that paper clip right there. And this is just gonna open a window that says browse your computer. You're gonna be able to browse in your computer, attach the name, and do it here. So whatever I'm gonna grade, I'm gonna delete, I'm gonna grade it from the discussion board. Don't send me anything on over the email. The reason behind this, that we don't want anything on the email, is that we know, guys, nobody is 100% safe, right? So what happens if tomorrow I test positive with COVID? Some other professor is going to have to take my place, but they don't have my email. However, they will have access to my Blackboard, so they can see absolutely everything on Blackboard. But the things that you send in the email are, they are not going to be available for that new professor. Now, I'm knocking wood. Hopefully that doesn't happen for any of us, but we have to be prepared, or we have to plan ahead just in case. All right. Once again, the name of the members and your team, and specify who's the team leader, because I know being a leader is a challenge. And you have to make everyone work. Somehow you are the one trying to cheer up everyone and making them work. As I say, you all are gonna have that opportunity, and I know it's hard. So if you are successful, I mean, you're going to receive a grade like any. Does the team lead? Let me just read this question. I can find my mouse. Okay. Does the team leader have to upload the final delivery? Uh, yeah, yeah. As long as it is in the thread and the subject is final delivery, is fine. Don't worry. Now, what was I saying? Yeah. So as long as it is in the same thread, is fine. Just make sure the subject is final delivery. Now, as I said, I know that as a leader, being a leader is a very difficult position. So if you were successful, you are gonna get extra grade. So you're gonna be graded as a leader as anyone else in the group, right? But if as a leader you were successful, and successful I mean, and that is included in the rubric, if every single one in your team um, got a grade of I think 85 or more, then you are getting I think 10% extra, right? Now I know some of you are gonna say, oh, but it's not fair because in my team this person is very lazy or this person blah blah blah. Well, that's real life. If you work, even if you work in, I don't know, like a supervisor in McDonald's, if your workers are not responding, it's a part of your responsibility, your assignment to make them work. Or if your team is successful, you as a supervisor is going to be recognized. You know what I mean? So it's part of real life. But you won't be penalized. You just will be rewarded if everyone uh, works. Now, for the rest of the team, you, every single one of you is going to be a leader at some point. So if you want to be rewarded when you have your turn, the best thing you can do is cooperate with the previous leader, right? So you know that person is going to be on your side when you are the leader. You know what I mean? So start cultivating that relation, because at the end, everyone is going to be a leader. Everyone has that 10% available, but it depends on the leader and in the group. If as a team member you are not working very well, I don't think you can count on your um, co-workers to do a good job when you are the leader. You know what I mean? So it's part of the support you have to do, give each other. It says, just in case they didn't know how to convert the, yes. Kyler says if anyone can upload the final delivery, just in case someone else or the leader at that time doesn't know how to convert to PDF. Yes, don't worry. As I say, as long as I can see it on the thread, as long as I have a document, final document before 11:59 p.m. of September the 26th, I'll grade. All right. Now, you don't really have to tell me, hey, this guy is not working, blah. I'm gonna see that. That's why I want to use the discussion board. I'm gonna see that. Okay, so don't worry. Somehow you are protected, just more or less. And this is something that you're not gonna get after college, huh? After college, you're on your own, and if people don't do the job, oh God, it is a nightmare, but it's part of life. Been done, done. What else? Been there, done that. Anyway, so any additional question about the class? How are we gonna work? Anything that comes to your mind? ChemLab. What about ChemLab, Jose? Josue? You said Josue, right? Anything about works cited? Color. Okay, Josue, thank you. You mean for the work you did, Tyler, for unit discussion? For the discussion. Not in this case. Not in this case because I'm not asking you to do. I mean, the research I'm asking you to do won't be on paper. It's just gonna be for your knowledge. So you don't really need to add any citation, right? Now, one way to let me know what you read is by posting, for example, the link to a document on the discussion board. It's like, hey guys, I found this very good place to know about Thomson experiment, and you post the link. Now I know you are reading that link. You know what I mean? But it's not, at least for this specific one, I don't need you to do any citation. Just read it on your own, right? Anything else, guys? Are there actual lessons for Chem Lab? For the laboratory, huh? All we need to learn is found on the regular Chem class. It's difficult to answer that question because, but this semester I'm not teaching 1411 lab, by the way. My labs are only 1412. Excuse me. Sorry. And really, since your teacher, your instructor for the lab, oh God, hold on. Let me shut up the microphone for a second. Okay, sorry. Since your instructor might be different than me for the lab, they might have some mini lectures there. They might not have those mini lectures. It's really independent. The lab from the class is really independent. So what I included in the lessons, as I say, I recorded these lessons over the summer where I was teaching both. And actually, we did the lesson in the morning, or at some point in the morning, the lab in the afternoon. So I tried to give like a little bit more of explanation or some tricks or some ways to do things for the lab. You're gonna find in the lectures some things talking about the lab. I'm not explaining everything because that was a different thing. And right now for you guys those are two different classes. The lecture is supposed to help, but you also have your lab manual. I that's something that students never do. I don't know why, but you have in your manual, you have an introduction section before every single experiment. The information in that introduction is extremely valuable, extremely valuable. So uh, when you are independently of who's your teacher, who's your instructor, or what are you doing, read that part. So with the lessons, with the instruction, with the introduction in your lab manual, you should have all what you need to do for the lab. I recorded or helped record pretty much, I don't know, I would say like 70% of the 1411 videos. So you're gonna hear me there. And we tried to do it uh, as clear as we could without giving you the answers away or without telling you exactly what to do, because a lab involves research too, right? So you have to be, it should be like an inquiry lab where you have to kind of understand what's going on, although we give you clues, we explain things there. I think you should be fine just by checking the lecture, reading your lab manual, and watching the videos, you should be fine. If you have more questions about how to do it specifically, you have to check with your lab instructor. All right? It's a regular class, kind of, not really, but yeah, I don't even know how to answer that. Not a regular class in the sense that you don't have exams, only you have the final exam. It's just report. Now that's another thing. How the reports are gonna be done depends on your structure. I have a way to do it. Someone else might have a different way. So for more information about that, I really recommend you to contact directly your instructor. Now, if you have a specific problem, for example, when you see, let me see what, I don't have your calendar here. But anyway, in one of the experiments, you have to relate the light, the wavelength of the light emitted to the energy. And sometimes students have problems while using that formula. Or I remember that one when, I can't remember, but this is towards the end of the semester, the thermochemistry experiment. That's always very confusing for students. So specific things like that, like, hey, I cannot, I don't know how to use this formula to answer this question. I have taught that lab many times in the past also, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And in those specific questions, I can help. You know what I mean? I can help you dealing with formulas, with graphs, with calculations. I can help you with that. The things that I cannot help you with is with the logistics. That's out of my reach. Okay, that belongs to your particular instruction. But if you need me to support you also in specific calculations, go ahead, I'm here. Okay. We're almost getting to the end of the, because I have another one at 11. It was at 11:30. I postponed it to 11:40. So I have time in between to drink some water, go to the restroom, etc. So we didn't do any problems today, but I think this week's problems are pretty easy for you. I'm not too worried about it. If you have problems anyway with your homework or with problems at the end of the chapter, just let me know. I think it was well show you all these links and everything. I think it was way more important than doing unit conversion. No? I think so. Okay, would you be willing to post an announcement about the group me since we cannot get hold of anyone? Yes, do me a favor, Kinjo. Can you, I don't, group me? I never used that one, but I guess it's like Teams and like Zoom, right? That will help us study together before exam. Okay, yeah, and now I get it. You can do it actually yourself. I know. Yeah, no. Let's do something, Kinjo. Write an email, like addressing the rest of. I cannot because of the course mention. No, but write a normal email. Just a normal email to me. Email me something that you are, the way you would be like talking to your peers, right? And then I will just copy paste into an announcement. So it comes from you. You know what I mean? You can either do it there or you can, let me see, what is it? You can also use this part, but honestly, there are not people here yet, so I have my doubts that anyone will see it if you post it here. Look, this is the subscribe link that I was talking about a while ago. So just send me an email addressing the rest of the group, and then I'll just put it as an announcement. And that's a very nice way for you guys also to get to know each other and help each other, right? Anything else, guys? Worried about this since there is only 5 people here. Yeah, I know. It's difficult. It's difficult, but let's even if I posted in the announcement, you won't believe me how many people email me asking what I just posted as an announcement. But anyway, we'll try our best and just hope for the best. All right. But yeah, and once again, this session is going to be recorded, so I hope that people that didn't have the time, because they might have another class now, or probably the little brother is doing elementary school now in the computer, I don't know, but they are going to be able to watch this video, so they will also know about the group me group. All right. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate, you don't know how much that you didn't leave me alone in the class. Thank you so much. And I'll see you here next Thursday at 10. Now we're going to start doing problems. Meanwhile, as I say, if you have any question between 9 and 5, you get your answer pretty much immediately. Otherwise, the next day or the next work day, you'll have sometimes before. Okay? All right, guys. One more. Where are you going to post the recording? Okay. In the same, let me go there. So for example, this is the additional problem session for this week. So it'll be right here. But give me some time, because sometimes I don't receive to get the recorded the session, we have to follow a procedure, and sometimes I don't get it immediately. So be patient if you want to watch it again. Be patient, but eventually it's gonna show up here or somewhere here, and I most likely gonna send an announcement say, hey, the additional session is available now, right? Anything else, guys? Nothing? Okay, yes, if you want to rewatch any part, it's gonna be there. Don't worry about it. And for some reason you cannot attend on one specific day, don't worry, many things can happen, but be sure that this is gonna be right there. The idea is that we can have this kind of interaction, so you guys are live with me, even if we don't see each other. You don't want to see me right now, but anyway, you still have a way to watch what we did. Okay. All right, guys, I gotta go now. I have another session coming, but I hope you guys have a very good weekend. Remember anything? Just one more thing I wanted to say. Sometimes when I reply, I'm not very polite in a way that I don't say, hey, how are you? I hope you're safe. But I just go straight to the point. Don't think I'm rude. It's just I'm receiving a lot of emails, and I can just reply uh, very quick, like very straightforward, and I'm not gonna use some time and say, hey, how are you, everything. Of course, I'm worried about how you are and everything, but don't think I'm rude. I'm just practical, and I'm just receiving a lot of, or have a lot of things to do at that precise moment, okay? All right. All right, guys, so see you next Thursday. Remember, homework 1 is due today, okay? And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.